Okay, talk bullshit. Talk, Vivian. No ID. Making another YouTube video. We are going to be introducing ourselves and talking a bit about ourselves. So stay tuned, stay locked. It's amazing. Wait.
Baby, talk to me.
Okay, so hello. My name is Alex, and this is.
My name is Vivian. Hello.
So, she has two names. So, what is your Vietnamese name?
Hoa.
Hoa.
Yes.
Okay.
Down.
So her real Vietnamese name is Hoa, but everybody in Vietnam seems to have an English name too.
No, not really everybody.
I meet a lot of names.
Yeah, a lot.
So a lot of Vietnamese have English names. So, but I will be calling her Vivian because that's what I'm most used to doing. So in this video, we're going to be introducing ourselves. We're going to be talking about the difficulties that we found being in an interracial relationship.
I've got my winter coat, hoodie, hat and gloves on, waiting at the bus stop.
Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about how we actually met. Okay, so I met Vivian online, and we talked for about 4 months.
By Instagram.
So Instagram. So we talked on Instagram for about 3 months, and then we decided that we wanted to meet. So I came to Ninh Binh, which is where we are now, and it's where Vivian lives.
Also, so what happened in the 3 months we talked by the Instagram?
We were talking for 3 months online, and our conversations were good. We always had stuff to talk about. I found it quite interesting. So I was curious, and I wanted to come to Ninh Binh to meet her. And I think ever since I met her, she fell in love with me. She thinks I'm amazing, and and yeah, it's been going pretty well so far.
Trouble making younger lads, guns in the plastic bags and backpacks for fun.
So what is the first impression with me in the Instagram?
Okay, so my first impressions when talking online were, at the beginning, you were quite rude. So I remember asking her to be my tour guide, and I asked her. I said she must be nice with me. She said, "What?" She said, "Why must I be nice? Give me the reason." So I found out she was quite stern and quite fierce in the beginning, which I think I liked. Even though I'd never met her, I felt like I knew quite a lot about her before I even met her, which was quite weird. So before this, I'd never done online dating. I'd always dated in the real world. So this was a first for me. So we got on pretty well online. And yeah, my impressions were pretty good at first. But I didn't know that in her head there was a slightly different story going on. So
Because I told you many times for the beginning when I saw the photo on the Instagram, which you remember you laying on
in the grass.
Yeah, he looked like insane or something like that. I really
So in
hate
case you
him.
didn't catch that, insane. She thought I was insane.
Because we talk a lot by Instagram, so that's why I saw a lot of photo, yeah, your photo, and because you have a lot of tattoo, and a lot of the photo I think you try to funny and look really insane, and I really hate it.
So one thing she doesn't know about me, what she didn't know before we met was I'm always joking. I'm always trying to have fun. So I think, well, as she just said, I tried a little bit too hard. And also there were some photos of me. I'll put them on the screen here. So I wasn't smiling. So I'm getting used to this selfie thing. I don't like taking selfies. I'm very self-conscious behind the camera. So the idea of standing there and smiling at my phone really kind of cringed me out. And I think she thought I was she told me in her own words I was a bad guy. My tattoos didn't help. So that's a good point to lead on to. So we're going to talk about some of the difficulties being in Vietnam. The first thing that we found, and we still find very different when being in a relationship, is culture. So that's for both of us. We both have different reasons for finding the culture difficult. So I'll start. The first one on my list is tattoos. So you can't see them now, but I have tattoos down my arms, on my chest. Not a lot.
Nice.
I have one on my lip. So in Vietnam, tattoos are not readily accepted. Okay, so if you have tattoos in Vietnam, a lot of the times you're seen as bad or it may be even a criminal. But in my culture, it's totally okay.
Yeah.
So when I came here and she saw my photos on Instagram, she didn't think too good of me when she when she saw my tattoos. But I think she was curious because our conversations were good, but from what she saw, she didn't quite like the tattoos. True.
Yeah.
Ruler used to have a house full, but now new reduced to lacking mouthfuls.
And the second one, I think, culture is Vietnam culture, being with the Thai.
So Thai means foreigner.
Yeah, it's for Thai, it's foreigner, being with foreigner. Everyone, if they see a girl who being with the Thai, they have a make a bad judgment about because they always think foreigner is really like a just come here for fun or just come here to find a girl, and then they can enjoy and then after that, after find a girl and fuck around or something like that, they will come back to the country.
So in Vietnam, we have a lot of English teacher backpackers.
Yeah.
So they're here for like 2-3 months at a time. They just come here to party, mess around with the girls, and then they're off. So English teachers don't have a good reputation here.
Yeah.
So that was another thing. I think also when people see me and Vivian together, there's a big misconception that every white guy is rich.
Remember when you and me go in the hangout, a lot of people point and you,
Yeah.
foreigner.
So when we're together, a lot of the time Vietnamese will stand there and quite openly just point and say Tay, Tay.
Yeah,
So-
and they talk a lot of bad word about
Yeah.
us. Yeah, like it's really dirty word
Yeah.
about us.
So a lot of the time, because I speak Vietnamese, but only a little. So I think most of the time, everything they say goes over my head. But I know it affects Vivian sometimes, which is annoying. But she said, I will say, even though sometimes we're judged out in public, she'll always hold my hand. She'll always make me feel comfortable. So it gets to her, but not in a way that it affects us. So. And like I said, there's a massive misconception that every Vietnamese girl is with a Tay for the money. Now Vivian knows I'm not rich. I earn a good salary in Vietnam, but I'm definitely not rich. So, but they're just some of the things that we know people are thinking when we're walking down the road, which can be quite annoying, but like I said, it's okay.
Back from where his two-faced brethren's out spending that, forgetting
What
that
is
he
this?
soon may regret.
The third one.
The next point is, so in Vietnamese culture, the Vietnamese will very rarely show affection outside. So you won't ever find two Vietnamese madly kissing outside. You won't ever see much affection really. So for me, I'm not used to this. In England, we're quite animalistic. So yeah, in England you can kind of do what you want, where you want, and it's not really a thing. So I remember the first time I learned this, me and Vivian, she was walking up some stairs and I couldn't help myself. I slapped her ass from behind and she went a bit crazy. So, but that's okay. So it's kind of a good thing. It's just something I'm not used to. So yeah, there's very little affection, and it was quite confusing in the beginning, especially when I knew I liked Vivian. I didn't know what affection was okay, what wasn't okay, when it was okay. So we've set our ground rules. I understand what's good, I understand what's not. So it's okay.
The fact he didn't roll that pistol on the victim, gonna sing a song, but till it's on.
Last and not least, on the list for culture, something I found hard is. You do? Good. So, British humour. So anyone that knows anyone that's British knows we use a lot of sarcasm. We have a very dry sense of humour. So I'll make a joke with Vivian, and sometimes I won't smile or laugh, and I think sometimes she gets confused. Am I joking? Am I not?
No, it's your fault because you know.
It is my fault.
Yeah, because the first time I talked with a British guy, yeah, even I told you a lot of time, even my English I learned is American English.
Yeah.
It's not British English, so I didn't know. Yeah, because the first time when I hear you say, "Shut up," I talk.
Okay, so anyone back home, any of my friends, any British guy knows that if you're close with somebody, we tell them to shut up. But it's not, we don't actually mean be quiet, and we don't mean it in a horrible way. It's just kind of a joke. So, oh, shut up, just go away and shut up. So I said this to Vivian, and I think that was our first argument.
Yeah, first.
So our first argument was because I told her in a very British way to shut up, and she got really offended. She was like, why are you telling me to shut up? That is so rude. So I kind of had to get my way out of that one and explain, but I think, but now she tells me to shut up, I think, more than I do her, so we're kind of getting around that, which is good.
Yeah, you're a good teacher.
So next we are going to talk about language.
Yes, language. For me, the language is the most difficult.
So in what way?
Yeah, because we have a lot of argument. Yeah, most of the time because we can.
So I'm going to change that word argument, misunderstandings.
Oh yeah, misunderstanding.
Yeah, there you go.
Because sometimes you speak like a rapper. Are you a rapper? Yeah, you speak too fast, and even you speak slowly, I cannot fully understand. But you speak like a rapper, blah 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 blah. So I cannot hear anything, and I cannot catch up your word. I told you a lot of times. Okay, so normally we can talk. Yeah, it's okay. But when we have a topic or something to discuss,
yeah,
I hope you can
slow down.
Yeah, slow down.
Okay, so anyone that knows me knows I talk really fast anyway. So one of the things we came across is Vivian sometimes doesn't understand what I'm saying because I'm going blah, 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 blah. As you can hear, she called me a rapper. But yeah, so I talk really fast, and in the beginning, when I would talk and she didn't understand, she would just ignore me. So,
That's good, right?
It's not good. It used to piss me off. So we'd be talking, and I noticed that she's just like, I was like, excuse me, I'm talking to you. But it was only recently I found out she did this because she didn't understand. So I just told her, if I talk fast, just tell me to slow down, and I will. So, but yeah, we've definitely had some misunderstandings through language. So her English is great, but it's not fluent. So sometimes I think she struggles to tell me what she's thinking.
Even because I not yet get used to with the British way when you're talking. Yeah, so that's why sometimes
You mean the slang I use?
No, not slang. I mean the way you saying.
So that's another good point. So when Vivian studied English, she learned American English. So like trash and automobile and sidewalk. And I don't talk any of that nonsense. Okay, so when we first started speaking, I think there was a lot of British terms that she didn't understand. She's like, I've told her American English, bullshit. I said to her, it's like, should I learn Vietnamese in Vietnam or learn Vietnamese from Cambodia?
So what do you think about the Vietnamese?
What, the language?
The language.
Okay, so Vietnamese language is probably one of the most interesting things I've ever heard. It's a tonal language, so that means they have many words that are dictated by tones. So sometimes they have the same word, different tone will change the meaning completely. So, but when you listen to the Vietnamese talk, it sounds like almost like a song. It's up, down, it's blah, 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 and it's just really cool to listen to. So I've been learning Vietnamese for about 4 months. I can do basic Vietnamese, I can get by in Hanoi if I'm alone, but I cannot sit there and have a fluent conversation. So first of all, let me give you the 6 tones.
Six
okay?
tones.
So I'm going to hand you over to the Vietnamese expert.
Okay, so the first one is here, like a
Hat.
hat. Yeah, it's Vietnamese. Mũ.
Mu.
Mũ. You can see. Mũ.
Good, so I'll put all the tones on the
Yeah.
screen. So this one goes up, down, up.
Up, down. Yeah, up, down.
Up, down, up. So listen to her voice carefully.
Mũ.
Mu. So for the foreigner, that is the hardest tone in the world because there's just no English word that we have that even comes close to that sound. Then we have rising tone.
Rising tone like a núi.
Nui.
Núi, you know, up and down. Núi.
Okay, and what does nui?
Núi is a mountain.
Mountain. Okay, so nui. Then we have falling tone.
Falling tone. Gà.
Ga.
Chicken.
Chicken. So ga. Good. Then we have no tone. So no tone is just a flat kind of, with your voice, it's just kind of flat.
Like big things. Cây.
Easy.
Cây.
Gay.
Yeah, it means tree.
Tree.
Cây.
Okay, so gay.
Cây. No tone.
No tone, just flat. And then we have the final. No, what's that one? Phở.
No, the
Phở.
famous food. Phở. Phở.
Phở.
Yeah.
Or không phải.
Yeah, không phải.
Không phải đâu
Phở.
nha. So
Phở.
không phải means not true.
Mm.
So it's something you hear a lot in Vietnam, but it's when you listen to the word phải, không phải. So that's another tone. And then the sixth and final tone is, it's called the broken tone. So it goes
Have
down.
the one here.
It has a dot at the bottom,
Mhm.
and it goes down, but it's very quick. So Hanoi.
No, Hanoi.
So Hanoi. So a
Hanoi.
lot of foreigners say Hanoi, and the oi is too long, so it's Hanoi.
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 Even
Okay.
you can hear Hanoi. Hanoi.
Hanoi. Okay, so Hanoi. Hanoi.
Mm.
Okay, good. So that's the broken tone. So 6 tones. So let me give you an example of why the tones are so important. So when I first arrived in Vietnam, I went to try and eat pho, which is a noodle soup dish. And so again, the word gà is
Gà,
chicken.
chicken.
So gà is G-A but with low, so gà. But I was doing it with a rising tone. So I was going in and saying, can I have gà?
Cá.
And fish is cá. So I was asking for gà when it's actually gà. So I was sitting there waiting for my chicken noodles. She brings it over and there's fish. I was like, oh, okay, it's her fault. I'll let her off. It's not a big mistake. So I went back a second time and I was like, chị ơi, phở cá. So I went back to my seat and she brings me fucking fish again. Third time I went in, I did my research. So I did my research, I was like, why am I asking for chicken and I keep getting fish? And I learned about the tones. So the third time, I said, chị ơi, phở cá. And she bought me chicken. I finally got my chicken noodle soup. So I think that was the day I realised the importance of tones. But anyway, that's what makes Vietnamese such a great language. The pronunciation, the tones, even just the words. Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool language.
Okay, so you have been in Vietnam over 10 months, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm okay with it now, but
uh-huh.
before, definitely.
So, but you know, in Vietnam have a lot of subject.
Yeah.
You're just you and me, right?
Yeah.
But in Vietnam have a lot of subject.
Subject, yeah.
Yeah.
Status language.
Yeah. Follow the age because older, younger, or something.
Girl, boy.
Yeah, girl, boy.
So in England, if you're talking to somebody, there is literally just me and you, you and I, her and him. But in Vietnam, it's a status language, which means based on your age and your gender, will determine how you address somebody. So for example, I am 28 and Vivian is 27. So if she is talking to me, if she is addressing a male that is older, it is chào anh.
Chào anh.
So I am Ang. And if I am addressing a woman or a boy that is younger than me, they are em. So chào em. So next example, if I am addressing a woman that is older than me, it's chào chị. Chào chị.
Chào chị.
Chào chị. Broken
Remember?
tone?
Yeah.
Chào chị.
broken- chào chị.
So chào chị. And again, the boy, if I'm addressing a male that is older than me, it's chào anh. Then we have, you move up into the higher respects. So if you're a woman of somebody around my mother's age, you are cô.
Cô.
But then I stop being M and I become chow. So it's chow chow
A
cô.
lot of
Yeah, it blows my mind. Same for if you're a man of my father's age, you are now chu and I am also chow.
Baby, but this is not our difficult. I think we go far away. I
Come,
think
language. I'm finding it difficult. This is something I find very difficult in Vietnam.
okay.
Then you have grandma, so someone of your grandma's age, chow chow bat. Granddad, chow chow chu. Chow chow ong. And like when I first came to Vietnam, this was, it absolutely destroyed my brain. So you can walk into a room sometimes and be like, chow em, chow chi, chow ang, chow chow ko, chow chow bat, chow chow chu, hey, chow em. So, again, great language, really interesting, but one of the hardest things I've ever had to learn. Okay, so the conclusion to the video is, I think between us we agree that although there are some difficulties, we get past. We just kind of have to adapt. I have to respect her culture, and in a lot of ways she has to respect mine. So I think overall, as much difficulties as there are, we still have fun. We have a lot planned. There's a lot that we do. So it's interesting. It's something I've never been in an interracial relationship before.
Sometimes we can understand, but sometimes we misunderstanding. So, but I think okay, because every day we are trying to sort it out and try to understand together.
Yeah. So when we
It's
have a
good.
disagreement, I will say we sort it out pretty quickly. But again, it's just about respecting each other's cultures. So thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. Tune in for more if you like travel, like food, like Vietnam, everything Vietnamese. Tune into the channel. Okay. Xin chào.
Bye bye.
Baby, talk to me.